Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 back here again for another Blu-ray DVD update video for you guys today. It's been about 2 weeks or so since my last one. Got a nice size stack of stuff here to talk to you guys about today. Also, my mom should be popping in a little bit later on with her guest reviews this week. But guys, remember to thumbs up this video if you guys enjoy my videos. Also, drop a comment. Let me know what good movies you watched recently that you would recommend me to check out. Just let me know down in the comments. But guys, let's start off with it from Shout Factory. First off, we got a horror B classic here that I've always remember watching back in the day when I was younger, going to the mom and pop video stores, seeing the covers on the shelves, going, ooh, I want to see that one. And this one is called The Slumber Party Massacre here, now on Blu-ray. This movie is pretty much about these high school basketball girls that are part of this basketball team throwing a slumber party for each other. But on the same night as their slumber party, this crazy mental patient escapes the mental facility, and he is powered with a big portable power drill, and he's out to kill and drill and kill. And in this movie, it's just pretty much the girls getting killed off one by one and seeing how the crazy guy, kills them. It's part one of a trilogy of films. I've always really liked it. You get Brinke Stevens in there, the B-horror scream queen, in her first speaking role in a film. And on this Blu-ray here, you get an all-new HD master of the film from the original film negative. So you get like the best possible picture for this movie that you've ever seen. And you also get a behind-the-scenes making of it, which is about like 20 to 30 minutes long, talking to the director, Amy Jones, Brinke Stevens, and some of the other cast members, talking about their experience on the making of the film, and how Amy Jones, the director of the film, turned down working on E.T., Steven Spielberg's E.T., to direct this film for Roger Corman back in the day, because this was, put under the Roger Corman line back in the day, and she turned down E.T., and it was her going, did I make a mistake doing that? But she went on to make this one and go on to write like movies like I believe she co-wrote all the Beethoven movies alongside John Hughes. And that was just kind of cool to know, from going from Slumber Party to writing, the Beethoven movies about a dog on here. But also on this Blu-ray here, you get the trailers to all three Slumber Party Massacre movies. But Part 2 has always been one of my secret favorite ones. It kind of feels like Nightmare on Elm Street a little bit, with a driller killer with a guitar / drill on the guitar killing people. I've always loved Part 2 a lot. But guys, definitely check out Slumber Party Massacre here on Blu-ray. If you're a fan of 80s slasher films, you'll definitely dig this one. Check it out, The Slumber Party Massacre here on Blu-ray. And next up over here from Magnolia is this creepy Spanish film that I watched the other night. Like, just the cover of it alone, like, freaked me out. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm getting into something kind of, like, messed up or something. But it's called Here Comes the Devil. It's pretty much about this family just going on a ride during, like, a weekend or whatever. And the kids ask, hey, could we go up this mountain, that's in their town or whatever, or wherever they're driving to. They're like, sure, just come back in about an hour. As the parents are just sitting there waiting for the kids to come back and have fun or whatever. And but the kids don't come back. They end up reappearing the very next day after the parents have a traumatic night going, where are my kids? But as soon as the kids come back, they're a lot different than they used to be. Crazy things start occurring, like random earthquakes are happening, and, the kids are just really, really strange. And then the parents, take the kids to the doctors to get them checked out, see if they're all okay. And come to find out that the daughter doesn't have her hymen anymore, and it makes the mother go crazy, like, what happened that night? Where were the kids? Because the kids are not talking about anything that happened that night, like where they were, who are they with, and what happened. And it's pretty much the parents trying to do anything they can to try to find out what the hell happened that night. And I found this movie to be kind of cool, but a lot of the sex elements of this film was just a bit too much, like not really needed for this movie. Like the opening of this film opens up with two ladies scissoring each other. And it was just kind of like, okay, like, don't get me wrong, girl on girl action's cool, but like, I don't know, it just wasn't really necessary for this film. There's one or two other little sex things in here that were just kind of like, alright, whatever. But definitely check out Here Comes the Devil. It's worth watching. It's a Spanish horror film, but I watched the English dubbed version on here because I'm lazy. I didn't feel like reading, the subtitles. But it was actually kind of cool. Not as creepy as this cover is or anything like that. But definitely enjoyable horror flick. If this sounds interesting to you, check it out. Alright guys, next up from Lionsgate is Jean-Claude Van Damme's new film, Enemies Closer Here. In this film, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays this evil drug lord that's trying to find his drugs that went missing, because at the beginning of this film, this plane crashes in the Canadian-US border, and that plane was full of his drugs that he wants to retrieve back for himself. But the only person that's in his way is this forest ranger, played by Tom Everett Scott, who you guys all know from like American Werewolf in Paris and Dead Man on Campus. He plays this forest ranger on this borderline, and he's the only one that's standing in his way. And in the meantime, the good guy of the film, Tom Everett Scott, the forest ranger, has another person that's trying to kill him on the land that he works on, because, played by Orlando Jones. You have to watch the film to find out why Orlando Jones is trying to kill the good guy also. But the thing is, in this film, Van Damme is not just going to kill Tom Everett Scott. He needs the good guy of the film to help retrieve his drugs out of the water, because he comes to find out that Tom Everett Scott was like a Navy SEAL or something, and he's really good at diving. But in this film, it's really crazy that Van Damme is like the bad guy of the film. He really grew out his hair, like really crazy, like kind of laughable. The way he probably did curlers in his hair, and the overacting that he was doing in this film was just really cool. I've always been a fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme since like Bloodsport or whatever that was, the one he did back in the day. But this film was also directed by Peter Hyams, the same guy that directed Van Damme in Time Cop and in Sudden Death, which was one of my favorite Van Damme ones back in the day, about Van Damme going into like a skating rink to try to save the people before a bomb blows up kind of thing. But this one I highly recommend, because this film was shot very well. There's a lot of motion, in these shots, like really thought out shots, like it felt like the whole movie was like on a dolly or something. Like the whole thing was kind of like moving in and out, like always having a nice fluid motion when it comes to like the fight scenes and just everything in general. Like I really dug like the cinematography of this movie the most, next to Van Damme's over the top acting and hairdo and stuff. But if you guys like Jean-Claude Van Damme, you get him in there with his ass kicking, fight scenes and things like that. I highly recommend it. I thought it was a fun movie that harkens back to like the 90s action films that I love. Definitely definitely check out Enemies Closer. I thought it was fun. Alright guys, next up is Children of Sorrow here on DVD. This is put out by the After Dark Film Festival line, and it's pretty much about this one guy named Simon. He has this evil plan to start this cult and invite these young teens and 20-somethings that don't feel good about themselves. They feel kind of depressed and don't feel loved. They're just trying to find a place in the world. And he invites these young people over to join him, because he tells these people that if you come and join me, I will give you love. I'm gonna make you feel wanted in life. So these people come and join him to be a part of this cult. But yet he has this, evil plan to do something to these young people. But they have no idea what's about to happen to them. That's pretty much the story of this film. I really couldn't get into it. It was shot found footage style. Like, like the cult leader is like making this home movie of himself. Like, hey, like he has like a sidekick too. Like, making this home video of himself going, yeah, dude, we're gonna bring these kids over here. We're gonna trick them into like, loving me. We're gonna like, all this kind of crazy stuff. But then when like the kids walk in 5 seconds later, like, hey, brothers and sisters, come on in, I love you. Like, crazy stuff like that. But I'm getting kind of sick and tired of like, found footage films. Like, like ones that are shot so cheaply. It just feels like there's not really a lot of, it's not really inventive anymore. It's just kind of like, alright then. It's one of those movies that's kind of like Paranormal Activity in a way, where like the whole movie, as it goes along, a couple little things happen, but like most of like the big action stuff happens like the last 5 or 10 minutes of the movie that makes you go, oh, okay. But like the rest of it's just kind of boring kind of thing a little bit. But that's Children of Sorrow. One of the main reasons why I wanted to see this is because one of the main stars of this film is starring in Jose Prendez's new movie, Divine Tragedies, which is starting to film today. And I just wanted to see this to see what what she's done before. But that's Children of Sorrow. To me, I would skip it. I really couldn't get into it at all. But that's Children of Sorrow.
Hi, it's me again, just stopping by. I just have a few things to show you this week. Starting off here with a TV series, for the History Channel called Big History. It's hosted by none other than Walter White himself, Bryan Cranston from the Breaking Bad series. You don't see him, of course, he just narrates it. But the concept of the show is really interesting. I don't normally go for, you know, whatever you call it, you know, nature shows or things like that. But this has a whole different setup. It shows, you know, that history isn't just a straight line. That history is a web of interconnected events. Like, the first episode on here is regarding salt. And I thought, boring. You know, but I like salt. I like popcorn, I like potato chips, so I thought, okay, I'll check it out. Really interesting. I had no idea that it connected like it did. You know, starts off with the first animals that crawled on the earth, all the way to creating the Erie Canal in the city of New York. Who knew salt did that? What? So, I mean, if you're interested in how things or history is connected with science, this is a really interesting DVD to pick up. Yeah, guys, it was a fun show. Alright, guys, and next up, well, I was jonesing for a zombie flick. I have no more Walking Dead to watch or anything, and I saw this one laying on Brendan's desk, so I picked it up. It's called Buck Wild. And the story is regarding a man who lives in this town and all of a sudden gets bitten by a chupacabra. And these 4 young guys, college guys, are heading out for a camping and hunting trip where this person who just got bit by the chupacabra lives. And of course so happens to run the, you know, the camping place that they're going. Anyway, it's, you know, one of your regular zombie flicks. The 4 friends, you know, get to the hunting spot, and of course they start seeing all sorts of weird things like zombies, and all of a sudden people are turning into zombies, so forth and so on, and they have to fight them and everything. The 4 guys, I guess I was interested in that because the 4 guys' characters were all distinctly different, and so it helped move the movie along. The only problem is that some of the characters relied on certain things and they like repeated it all the time. So in a sense it was not as creative, obviously, by any means like The Walking Dead, of course. But I watched it all the way through. I pretty much enjoyed it. It was a cute thing, but like I say, not like The Walking Dead. Okay, back to Brendan.
And next up over here is a movie from Anchor Bay that I've been really, like, highly, you know, anticipating, really excited to see, because I've been a big fan, as you guys all know, of Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung's films Ip Man and Ip Man 2 that came out a couple of years ago. And I absolutely love those. I even have like a poster of it on my wall over here. And this one right here is about the same man, Ip Man, and it's called The Grand Master, and it's presented by Martin Scorsese. And I just wanted to see this one because this looks cool, like another telling of the story Ip Man. And this one stars Tony Leung and Zhang Ziyi, who you guys all know from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and things like that. But this version of Ip Man, or the story of Ip Man, is more arty, more kind of dramatic than, you know, the other film that came out a few years ago. And that really kind of threw me off, because I was kind of like excited to see like cool new fight scenes and things, which you get in here, but they're just not as cool, you know, as the ones that came out a few years ago. And I was, you know, 'cause the story of Ip Man is Ip Man is a guy that trained Bruce Lee, and you guys all know Bruce Lee became a legend. And it's just a story of the man that trained him and how he created the style called Wing Chun that, you know, went on to, you know, go with Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee teaching other people and stuff like that. And it's just a story in his life and what he had to go through when he was younger and things like that. I really wanted to love this film. You know, the action scenes were absolutely amazing. It was shot beautifully, but it was just like one of those movies where they have like these long stares at each other and like different things just to like get you like to get the emotional feeling across. And in movies like this, you don't really need that. You know what I mean? It's like long, I'm looking at you, but I'm not gonna talk for like 3 minutes. So what are you doing today? Kind of, you know, like weird things like that. It wasn't bad at all. It just wasn't as like cool as I thought it was going to be, like something like this, you know, like the over the top, just fun action stuff. But definitely check it out if you want to know anything, you know, if you want to know a little bit more about the man, It Man himself. Definitely check this out. On here, you get like an interview with the RZA. He's like a guy from this rap group called Wu-Tang Clan. There you go. Is a rapper from this group called the Wu-Tang Clan, and you get an interview on him with him talking about the movie because he's a big martial art fan. And you get like a making of on here. You get also an interview on here with Bruce Lee's daughter talking about the man himself. It's an enjoyable film, but if you're looking for a fun action flick, definitely check out the Ip Man and Ip Man 2 with Donnie Yen. Those ones are absolutely amazing. But that's the Grandmaster here on Blu-ray. And next up over here is Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom here, starring Idris Elba and Naomi Harris. This is the story of Nelson Mandela, and if you guys don't know anything about the man, he's a guy that in South Africa was fighting against apartheid and like pretty much hit his civil rights and trying to like fight for his people. And he was the first guy elected in South Africa to be president. And in this movie, it shows that he got put in jail for what he was fighting for over like 20-something years, and just shows the life and how he met his wife Winnie Mandela and things like that, and just their love story. And I thought this movie was wonderfully acted by Idris Elba. I believe he's even nominated for an Academy Award for this film here. And I recently just watched a movie called Winnie Mandela, starring Terrence Howard and what's her name, Jennifer Hudson. And I really liked that one, so I knew the story of Nelson Mandela already. But going into this one was way better acted, way better written, and a better told story of the man Nelson Mandela. And if you guys want to know more about the man, definitely check out this film. Wonderfully acted. I really do hope he wins the Academy Award this year for his performance in this. But I definitely like this film. Definitely give this one a chance when you see it out there. I absolutely love this movie. Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, here on Blu-ray. Alright guys, next up from Sony is Bryan Cranston's new film, Cold Comes the Night, here on DVD. In this film, it's about this young woman who owns this this hotel in the middle of like this like shitty part of town, and she's being threatened by her social worker that her daughter's going to be taken away if she doesn't get taken out of this environment that her daughter's in, because this hotel that she works at, like all these hookers go there, all these drug dealers go there. It's like a really shady part of town. And if she doesn't, move out of there and take her daughter out of the situation, her daughter's going to be taken away from her. But in the meantime, these people come into town and get a room at this hotel before she has time to get up out of town, and causes this mischief, causes all this problems, and someone gets shot. But then, like, Bryan Cranston's in one of the rooms, and he needs to find out what happened to the person that was in the room and what happened to the car he was driving, because it's not there anymore. And he's trying to find out where it is so he can get the stuff that's in his car. So he threatens the lady that owns the hotel to, like, help him find the car, because he's nearly blind, and he's like a criminal mastermind kind of thing, yet he can't see that well anymore, and he's trying to figure out where his stuff is. So he's threatening this lady to kill her daughter if he doesn't, if she doesn't help him and things like that. But in this movie, he has this weird like Russian accent. I believe it's Russian. I'm not really good with accents, but he has this like, I'm going to kill your daughter, kind of accent to it. I really did dig this film. I liked it a lot more than I actually thought I was going to. Bryan Cranston is just a badass, I really liked him in Breaking Bad. I like him in this. Definitely check this one out. It's a fun thriller flick. Alright guys, next up, oh wait, actually, if you hear any weird sounds right now, it's just really raining really hard right outside this window that I'm standing next to right now. It's like really coming down out there. But guys, next up is a remake from a 2003, I believe, Asian film that I really loved. And that is Old Boy here on DVD, directed by Spike Lee. One of my favorite directors of all time, from like Do the Right Thing and Clockers and Crooklyn and things like that. I absolutely love him as a director. But this film was just, to me, a very unnecessary remake in my opinion. It was just, it's been 10 years or less since the last one came out, and it didn't really feel needed to me. But I went into it just trying to go in fresh and going, alright. But then it's pretty much about a guy. He's kind of a drunk. He's kind of just like a you know, kind of like a slacker kind of dad. He has a daughter and a wife. And one night he's drunk, he's like fumbling around the streets, and then he wakes up in this weird room, a hotel room kind of place, but yet he can't get out of there, and he's locked in there for 20 years. And as he's locked in there, he sees images of his wife and daughter, like, you know, being messed with, or doing, you know, being messed with and things. And then 20 years later, he gets let out of that place. And when he gets out of that place, he wants revenge, and he wants to know what happened to his family and what the hell is going on and where he was. Why was he locked up for all this time? And it's pretty much him trying to find that out. And, like, the story is good, and I love Josh Brolin, especially from The Goonies, one of my favorite movies of all time. And, of course, you get Samuel L. Jackson in there with his, you know, his crazy characters and things. But when I was watching this, I was just kind of like, oh, man, the whole time, like, this is, like, unnecessary remake, like a lot of remakes are these days. Like, it wasn't really poorly done. It was just kind of like, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. I was really kind of just disappointed in this one. I really wanted to like it. You know, the fight scenes were kind of subpar, at least compared to the original one that came out. But I don't know. But that's just Old Boy here on DVD. If you guys have never seen the movie before of the original one at all, you know, definitely check it out, because it's an awesome story, and you get killer action in it, especially the 2003 version. But that's Old Boy here on DVD. That's all I can really say about that one. It's just But next up over here from Fox is a show that I knew nothing about, and when I watched it, I absolutely fell in love with it. Thought it was absolutely hilarious. I even, you know, let my mom check it out, and she ended up watching the whole first season too. And that is legit, the complete first season here on DVD. Oh my God, this is hilarious, man! It even stars DJ Qualls, who you guys all know from like The New Guy and like Road Trip and things like that. Also, this show stars Jim Jeffries, the main star of this show. He plays like a foul-mouthed comic, Australian comic, that has a couple of like stand-up specials that came out, one on HBO, one from like Showtime or something. And in this show, he plays himself, and his life living in LA, trying to get film work, and like living with his best friend and his disabled brother, and the adventures that they go along the way, and how like the disabled friend that he lives with has like cerebral palsy or whatever, like he can't really move, or he's like stuck in a wheelchair, confined to a wheelchair. All he can really do is move his head, and how like they take him to like a, you know, like the Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas to get him laid kind of thing, and like, you know, like weird wacky like stuff that they get into in the show. I absolutely loved it. I loved all the potty humor that they have in this show, like all the like the weird, you know, quirky comedy about it. I know a lot of it would probably turn off a lot of people, but definitely check out this show. My mom absolutely loved it. She's watched the whole show already. I watched the whole first season. Absolutely hilarious. I believe season 2 is going to be starting soon on FX. Definitely check it out. Absolutely a lot of fun. But next up over here is Almost Shark-Proof here on DVD, starring Jon Lovitz and Dennis Haskins, who you guys all know from Saved by the Bell, that played Mr. Belding. But in this film is about these two 20-somethings that are kind of like always bumming around their house, not really doing much with their lives, but yet they've come across this idea to make, you know, shark-proof wetsuits. And they're trying to pitch this idea all over town, trying to, you know, make like $1 million, you know, like for this, like the weird idea that they have. And they go to this guy, this loan shark guy, played by Jon Lovitz, to like tell him their idea to see if they can get money to actually make, you know, the shark-proof wetsuits. And when they go to this nightclub to talk to Jon Lovitz, Jon Lovitz says, hey, you're kind of crazy. Get out of here. I'm not buying this. You know, but in the meantime, they meet this one girl in the club and take her home. But come to find out, Jon Lovitz, the loan shark, is in love with that girl and wants her back. And it's just a whole back and forth between the guys and the girl and Jon Lovitz and things. It was just mediocre kind of a film. I just pretty much wanted to see it because I love Dennis Haskins from Saved by the Bell and Jon Lovitz from like High School High and the Critic TV show that was out back in the day. But it was really just kind of like, meh. You know, it was one of those ones like when you watch it, you're like, yep, that's a straight-to-DVD title kind of thing. But it was enjoyable for the first time, but it wasn't amazing. Totally forgettable. I don't think I'm ever going to need to watch this one again, is what I'm trying to say. But that's Almost Shark-Proof here on DVD. Next up over here, or actually last up over here, is Across to Bear here on DVD. This is pretty much the story of this young woman. When she was a little girl, she was abused and kind of treated badly by her mother because her mother was a drunk. And when she grows up, she wants to be like a dancer, performer, and yet she always has these traits of her mother in her, like always drinking, always trying to get her way, until one day she meets this one rapper guy, this, like artist. She has this relationship with him, and then she has this something to tell him, but before she gets to tell him what she wants to tell him, he breaks up with her and kind of disowns her. But in the meantime, the thing that she wanted to tell him is that she's pregnant with his baby. But then she's homeless and she's stuck on the streets, and she's trying to figure out what's going on with her life, why she's sleeping in boxes on the streets, and and it's pretty much her, trying to figure out her life and get her life right. But definitely check out Across the Bear if you guys like those Lifetime kind of, Lifetime for women kind of movies. I know I'm not a woman, but hey, sometimes I like watching certain things. But that's Across the Bear here on DVD. Check it out. I really did kind of like this one. But guys, that's all I have to talk to you guys about today. Definitely give this video a thumbs up if you guys like my review videos. Please share this link on Facebook or Twitter to your friends, letting them know to check out this video if you guys like my stuff. Also, drop a comment, like I said at the beginning of this video, and let me know what movies you guys seen recently and which ones you would recommend me to check out or stay away from, for that matter. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time.